All right, everyone. This is LaDonna. She's been working with us for a couple of months. One of our star students brings the energy every time. And yeah, we're just gonna chat about her growth so far and ask her a couple of questions. But started off simple. Before you started working with us, like where were you at, store wise, e-commerce wise, and like what was the main thing that you were stuck on?
I was actually in a very beginning research stages trying to figure out if I wanted to convert to e-commerce because I ran multiple businesses and I just didn't know what to do. And I wanted to navigate drop shipping and do it the right way because I started with TikTok Shop and I just didn't like it. I didn't like the organic portion of it.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. And like what? So the main thing you were stuck on was like just the organic part, and like your sales weren't consistent, maybe, or was there any specific problem that you were experiencing, or?
I had analysis paralysis. So I didn't know how to build a website. I didn't know how to utilize AI. I didn't know how to utilize an agent. I didn't know if I should do a platform and integrate it and then just pick any product. I didn't know the research. The research was
Yeah,
something I really learned in this group.
makes sense. Yeah, it's a lot of gaps, right? Like I think it's very daunting, and there's just so many ways to go about it. And I think yeah, that guidance definitely helps. But okay, that makes sense. Next question. What did you tried before you found us, and what wasn't working? Maybe if you had tried anything at all.
My own research on YouTube, all
Okay.
the notes, everybody, every mentor, everybody that you found on YouTube, or if you was looking at TikTok and found people talking on TikTok, it was different things. It was like, I felt like it was something missing in the middle. Like they wasn't telling you everything, but they was drawing you in to say, hey, you should do drop shipping as if it was easy, but it wasn't like that. So I was missing a whole bunch of middle ground information.
Correct, correct. Yeah, makes
So
sense, makes sense. Yeah, it's like it is like a funnel as well, right? Where they like rope you in, but then they give you like they make it seem like it's easy. And like what we do, I think, is the opposite. We're like, hey, like this is hard, and like we want to
Mhm.
do right by you by showing you like the actual steps that go into building a profitable business, right? But makes sense, makes sense. And what was your first honest reaction when you heard the price or like our service? Were you skeptical? I just want to know. Yeah.
Well, so I am like, y'all, don't judge me. I'm like an energy person. So when I was on TikTok and I was scrolling, I seen like 10 or 15 other mentors prior to running into Cash's account. He was on live and I never watched live videos. So it was odd that I stopped there. And I was like, let
Mhm.
me see what this man got to say. He probably talking about the same crap everybody else. And I sat there, I was like, people was asking questions, but the way that he was responding to the questions as if he wasn't trying to gatekeep or he was trying to put it in layman's terms and make you understand, like, no, this isn't it. He was honest. And I was like, you know what? Let me DM him like I'm trying to hook up with him and ask him if he can mentor me. So I messaged him and he did his interview process and I just connected with it. And I didn't care what you charged, honestly, because I always tell people knowledge is power. And if you want to go to the next phase, you got to pay for whatever price it is to get there. It's not going to be cheap. It may not be cheap, but if you're willing to make that investment, you do it. And if you're serious about it and you know you could do the work, it's no price point to teach you this type of stuff.
no, 100%. Yeah, that's what we aim for. Like just being authentic, giving as much information out as possible, and not gatekeeping anything for anyone, right? Because at the end of the day, yeah, if we could transfer that knowledge off to anyone, whether it's for free or paid, most people are not going to do anything with it. So that's the reality of it. That's why we never gatekeep. But it's also just good to put good out there. And the way we see it is we're going to receive good back. And so far, it's worked out very well for us. So happy to see and how you felt that way, and glad to see that that's the energy we give off because that's all what we aim for.
100%. Yeah, I think the one thing I always say is like students that work make it work, right? Like
Yep.
that's who you want to attract, people that actually want to work and not just make 100K the next month because that's unrealistic and we don't want that type of clientele essentially. Another thing that I think I've been seeing a lot as I'm speaking to people in the network is the space is filled with like I think a lot of degens. Like I think ecom is filled with so many like kids that just made a lot of money off kind of like it is kind of gambling and they didn't understand the business aspects or the professionalism needed to consult anyone. And when we saw that gap, we started doing this where we're like, hey, like we want to give like a white glove service where we're like actually one to one with our clients and like actually doing consultations instead of like, oh, figure it out. Or like, hey, like a lot of the kids are like, oh, we'll teach you how to do it. And then they just like vanish, right? There's no like bookings, there's no like professionalism. And I think that is why our community is working as well as it is. So yeah, no, thanks for your kind words. That makes a lot of sense. The next question is, was there anything that almost stopped you from joining or what almost stopped you from joining, if anything?
Nothing. I mean, I can't even say it was anything that almost stopped me from doing it because I was really motivated to do it. So when I set my mind to something and I'm set in doing it, I'm going to do it. I don't talk myself out of it. So I wouldn't say it was anything that kept me from wanting to do it, honestly.
Okay, makes sense. Makes
That's
sense.
good.
That's perfect. Yeah. Next section, we're gonna talk about like transformations as you've started working with us. So like, could you walk me through what happened after you started working with us, and like, what was the first like aha moment, like the first thing that clicked for you as you were working with us?
I would say it was a couple of aha moments, but I'll start with the phases. So the research
Mm-hmm.
was the most aha moment. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, because the way my mind works, if something doesn't make sense, I question it. And then when you guys started teaching me the research, it made sense and it clicked. And once it clicked, I ran with it. Like I was digging, I was researching and just trying to get all the information because it made sense to gather. The more research that you have and the more you put that input into AI, the more it can help you in the end. So my aha moment was that's what it is. You got to dig. You have to dig through three separate platforms to get the information that you need to build your brand and find the right product. So that made so much sense to me. That was my first aha moment.
Makes sense, right? And like on top of that, it's like that's an like ongoing thing till the end, right? Where
Mhm.
it's like that's for product finding your product, but also like your website and also like your ads. Like I think the biggest gap even for us when we started is like, what are we doing that's wrong? But like we were just shooting in the dark, right? We were just like taking other people's ads and trying it with that, and then trying other people, like there was no like actual structured process and no way to cut through the noise, which is what we realized. Oh, this is the way to do it, and that's what we teach our students. But that makes sense. So your first, I think you were. I know you love the research aspect as well, which is sick. We,
I
we
do.
both do as well, and that's like you would just like lock in for hours and just like get it done. So that was always very exciting to see. Very very cool. Sick sick. And like what's I think I kind of know the answer to this, but like the next question is like, what's one thing we taught you that you never heard anywhere else? Um,
I would say there's many, but the one I would say the most is cut through the noise and figure out what works for you and finding that specific that I mean narrowing it down to find your angle and how you're going to pitch your product because it could be 1,000 people doing it, but if you have a specific angle and you're coming in strong and you dominate that area, you could still win.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, no, positioning, right? Positioning is everything now that the market is so sophisticated, right? It's like, yes, five people are selling it to white women. Is there a product that you could position to the African American community and speak to their pain points? Again, then that goes back into the research, right? Research around that, validate that. Yeah, makes complete sense. Cool. And I don't know if this question makes sense. Okay, no. Um, I guess how long did it take you before you started seeing like progression in your journey, would you say?
I'm probably I don't want anyone to compare mine to theirs only because I really dedicate a lot of time to it and I probably do 17 hours, 14 hours a day every day. Like that's how honed in I am. So I would say I noticed myself making a progression probably within that first week because I applied myself. And if you
Mhm.
apply yourself and you do the knowledge, it'll happen fast.
Yeah, genuinely, I think what happens is like it just starts to compound, and you start to see results or progression and growth, compounding for you, which is the best part. Other thing, a lot of people because this industry is so flashy, people make it seem like you can get results so quickly based off of doing absolutely nothing. But when you actually start to get into it and you have a right structured approach and an approach that actually works, you'll start to see, yeah, there's a lot that goes in the back and there's a lot of hours and time that you have to put in to really see true results, right? We always focus on building a brand, right? Not just a dropshipping store, right? Because most of those stores will just die down within literally a few weeks, maybe a couple months if you get lucky. A brand is going to stay here forever, right? So, and that's where the back end stuff really needs to be dialed in. You need to have the right approach, the right fundamentals in place, and truly be dedicated to the game. You got to be a slave to the game. That's the way I see it, right? And that's exactly what you're doing. You're putting in 10, 12, 14, 15 hours. It's exactly what we still do to this date. And that's what allows us to kind of, in my opinion, separate us from others, and same way for you, separate yourself from others. And that's why I kind of always say to Alian, but it's like, yeah, you're like the star student because I mean, the reality is you are putting in that work. Not to say others are not, but there is a difference in the amount of time and effort that goes into it and applying, criticism and knowledge and taking it in the right way, right? So that makes a huge difference. And I mean, it's the proof is in the pudding. It's like literally there in front of you. So totally get that.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Cool. We'll move on to what it's like working with us as like coaches. So the first question we have here is like, what is it like working with me and Cash? What surprised you about the way that we coach?
Yeah, dope. I mean, yeah, answer all of my questions. It doesn't matter if I could be like, I'm like, I know they ain't up at 2:30 in the morning, but I'll still message and then I'll get a response like, oh, okay, you gotta stay on this one subject. I get the answer right away. So I think that's pretty dope because you guys try to be effective in your communication and be there for us the best way that you possibly know how. So I do enjoy that portion of it. And you take feedback, and whatever feedback I give you, you're willing to jump on a call or give me the conversation or whatever input I need to go to the next step.
Perfect. No, that's glad to
100%.
hear that. Yeah. Sick, sick. And what would have happened if you hadn't joined? Where do you think you would be at right now?
Still trying to figure it out. Still
Mhm.
trying to fit that website. I ain't gonna lie. That first week when we transitioned into that website, bruh, it was terrible. It was terrible, but I was so determined to get it right. That whole next 4 days, I was just so into getting it right. But I'm telling you, if I didn't have y'all to support me or give me those, what do you do on a school platform, the little videos to just keep playing? Because I play it in my sleep sometimes and just keep going into the information and dig deeper, I would be still stuck in stages 1.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, no, I remember when I thought the site was a good first pass personally when I first saw it. I thought it was nice, but then the change when I saw it again, it was like a
Yeah.
professionally built like with like UGC that I didn't even know was AI. Like
Yeah,
it
that
was
that change was next level. And honestly, when I seen that, I was I was very, very happy and proud. I was just like, this is dope because again, you took the feedback and you took it and you ran with it, right? A lot of times people will take the feedback and just kind of sit there and be like, oh shit, and kind of just give up. And you did the complete opposite. You took that and you just made it 100 times better. And after seeing it, it's like, wow, this is amazing, this is dope. And not even just on the site, right? Even like the AI creatives, the AI testimonial, everything that you did, like just again, and I'm sure it's going to be a question that comes up later on, but you had, from what I remember, like very minimal knowledge with all these AI tools and platforms
yeah,
at the beginning. And when you look at it, 4 or 5 weeks in, wow, the knowledge got like it's huge, it's different, right? Like it's insane. And that's kind of goes to show where again you truly lock in, you will see cool results. And that's transferable in any niche, whether you stay in ecom or you go to anything. Basically, you can apply that anywhere, and that's where the future is heading. So that's
Yeah.
the best part, right? So either you get left behind or you continue to develop and learn. Again, that's exactly what you did.
fire, fire. I know that AI stuff is crazy. I'm excited to see what
It
else you come
is.
up. Yeah, I'm excited to see what else you make. Images are perfect, videos are crazy. But yeah, sick. Is there anything you wish you'd known before starting, and anything you would tell anyone who's on the fence with working with us?
Anything I wish that I would have known prior.
Hmm.
One, I wish I would have known that it wasn't easy because everybody make it seem like you again can find a product, throw it online and launch it, and then you just get money from it. That's just not how it works because eventually if you do it that way, your online presence will die down because you don't know the integrations behind AI and being able to run your funnels with your ads. Just I wish I would have known that it was a whole conversion aspect of it. Okay, I need to pay attention to these numbers or how you say ROAS or
Yeah,
ROAS, and
ROAS, yeah,
knowing what's working and what's not, when to pull back, when to test. I didn't know you have to test for 7 days. You have to have the money to test these things. So I wish I would have known that. It's not gonna be cheap. It's not you don't how they say, oh, you don't need no money to start this, you could just start it for free. That's
no,
not true. That's not
Hmm.
true. It's selling a dream.
Facts.
exactly. And that's what so many people in this space do. So many of these gurus, quote unquote, do. They sell a dream just to get people in, make a quick little bag off of you and kind of disappear. But that's again, we had experienced that multiple times. And we had also experienced the good side of it, which was, having mentors that teach you the right ways and the ways to actually win. And that kind of changed our life for the better. But again, you also need those bad mentors too, which, you learn from that. So you realize that's exactly what you don't want. And that's actually what you want to, learn from and teach others to obviously avoid that and give off that
Yeah.
good value. So that's exactly why we kind of go for the reality and we say, hey, you know what, this is a long-term game. There's so much that goes into it. You can't, you need time, effort, and money to succeed. It's unrealistic to have nothing and be able to make something out of it.
I
Facts.
agree.
Facts. Yeah. And anything that you would tell anyone who's on the fence about joining a mentorship in general or working with us? Anything that comes to mind, maybe?
You know my thoughts on it. Y'all better do it. You have to spend that money. If you really believe in you, like I always say, y'all got the perfect name. Bet on yourself instead of going out spending money, going out to drink, going gambling. Bet on you. Put that money and invest in yourself. Believe in yourself. If you don't need nobody else to believe in you, if you believe in yourself, grab your mentors. You got a testimonial. You know I ain't lying. So do what you got to do. Invest. Even if it's your last $2,000, bet. Make that bet and it'll be worth it, because if you're willing to apply yourself and you want to have the knowledge and you're willing to put in that time, because you know that it can be a positive outcome from it, because you do see people doing it. But just know, if you put in that extra work and you have dope mentors behind you supporting you, you're going to succeed. Whether it's your first, second, third launch, it doesn't matter. If you believe in yourself, it'll happen one way or the other.
100%.
Amazing.
100%. I'm glad you said the bet on yourself part,
I was just gonna
because
say.
that was actually something we were debating on, not amongst each other, but just with the rest of our team, about whether we should actually have, if we should have like launched with that name, if we should have kept it, if we should change it. But you know, Aliana and I, we kind of stuck to it, and we're like, no, we're gonna keep it, because that's exactly what we stick by on our day-to-day with any, whether it's the e-com or just in general, like, to bet on yourself. Every decision we've made, we bet on ourselves, and that's why it's got us to where we are, you know, currently in life, and that's what we're going to continue to do moving forward too. So it's funny you said that, because that's exactly, we have a laugh about that. We literally talk about that, how we did just that to get to where we are now, and we're going to continue to do that to get to, you know, wherever we want to get to in life. So I'm glad you like that.
I love it. I love it. I just see a lot of people just wanting, like, it's fine to ask questions. Don't feel like you know, even if you're in the beginning stages, don't feel like any question is a dumb question. But remember, you can't have everyone do the work for you. So when that bet on yourself thing is actually breaking it down and applying whatever is being given. You know what I'm saying? Because it's right there for you, but people just don't want to look at it and research it. The questions be there. I mean, the answers be there. So take the time to do it.
Sick. The work. As soon as that work, make it work. Like I genuinely believe that. Sick. Last section. Here. Can you walk us through the first maybe 17 days, and like how it was working with us day to day? I know, you know, we have weekly calls, obviously, but like just the first couple of sessions, or like, you know, the first couple of days of working with us. I just want to know, you know, could you maybe recall how it was working with us in those earlier days?
The first couple of days was a lot of knowledge, probably too much for me because I get overwhelmed real easily. But I explained my learning, how I learned and how I got ADD. But you guys slowed it down for me, and you helped me not be overwhelmed, because in the beginning I was just like, okay, I'm gonna do this, but like if I got too much information, I can't apply it the way that I want to. So you broke it down for me to say, okay, let's do it this way. You take these and then apply this, and when you make it to that mark, you go to the next one. But it was hard. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. It ain't easy, because there's times when the first time when I started doing, I was like, what the hell am I doing? I was discouraged. But then when I got that motivational piece from y'all, when y'all saw my progression, it just motivated me even more to go harder, and knowing that I'm doing the right thing. So working with y'all, you apply it based off of your skill set. So I don't think you do one shoe fit all. It's okay, how do you learn? Okay, we'll go your way. Let's do it that way so we can make sure you get the knowledge that you need. So I do appreciate that you didn't teach me the same way that you may have taught the last person.
Perfect.
100%. Yeah, that's what we're big on. We always say it's one-on-one, but it's, you know, it's truly one-on-one, where it's like it's dialed in for you based on how you learn, based on what you like to see, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And we adapt. We like to be very, very adaptable with that. We adapt to your situation, what works with you. And because you know what, that's how you are truly going to succeed, right? Everyone learns differently, and some people may be able to change their learning style, but most people are not able to, right? And that's okay, right? That's the point, right? You can learn, and we will do our part, which is to teach you. You just have to do your part, which is to learn and execute, right? And I'm glad to see that you're able to, you know, see it that way, and you were able to succeed.
Sick. I mean, yep, that's all for the testimonial. Perfect. Thanks for going through that with us. And
yeah, 100%. Appreciate it.
Problem.
Again, yeah, star student right here. So
yeah, do it. If you're on the fence, just do it. I'm telling you, 100%. It'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. I 100%. Promise you.
Appreciate you. Cool. Yeah.